that we talk about this now, and we do speak about this the first time you came on. We need to talk about the exit now, and I know it's going to bring up a lot of bad emotions for you, but I really want you to tell the Norwich fans again how you truly feel about it. Deadline day, absolute heartache for the Yellow Army, 1st of September 2015. What from your point of view, what happened? Take us through the timeline and who were you in contact with? Who said what? How did it work out?
So it happened the night before the deadline day. I was in London at my family's house, and I got a call from my agent, and he just said, "Oh, Norwich have accepted a bid for you." And I was like, "What?" Say that again. He went, "Yeah, there's rumours that Norwich have accepted a bid for you from a club." And I was like, the first I heard of. As I said, that season, the season we got promoted, I signed another 3 or 4 year contract there, and I was settled at Norwich. And yeah, going in and speaking to my agent that night, he said, "Yeah, it looks like there's some truth in it." So I went in the morning, saw Alex Neil, and he didn't really know what I was going in for. I went in early in the morning. I think we were due in at like 10 o'clock, and I went in at 8:30 in the morning to see him. But previously to that, I didn't play the last 3 games. I was coming on off the bench. I think it was Southampton game was the last game I come off of the bench. And then we had an international break, and then we come back in. So he thought I was going to see him about not playing. And I've come in here and I've said to him, "Gaffer, I've just heard that the club have accepted a bid for me. What's going on?" And he was oblivious to it. Didn't know. So no, he didn't know at the time. No, he didn't know. So he got on the phone, made a phone call, and I was in the room, and it was sort of like a phone call where the board wasn't expecting it. They didn't expect me to go in so early, and they was like, "Oh, we were meant to call you and tell you." And Alex was like, "Well, Bradley's in my office now. What's happening?" And then he said to me, "Go out of the office." So I went out, and by that time, the lads had started coming into the building, and they were like, "What are you doing in so early?" And I sort of like, "I don't know why I'm here. I don't know what's going on. I've got to wait for a call." My phone was going off. My agent was ringing me saying, "It's Derby have put in a bid for you, and the club are willing to sell you because they don't see you in their plans in the Premier League, and they think it's good money for you." So I went back into the office, and Alex Neil just said, "Look, it's a deal that the club saying they can't turn down. It's something that we want to. We can't promise you playing time at the club now in the Premier League, and it's an opportunity for you to go out and play." I wasn't happy about it. I did not want to go. So I was like, "Well, what do you want me to do?" He said, "Well, we're looking to get players in. If we get the players that we want in, then I don't see a future for you here at the club." And I was fuming. I walked out of the office and saw a few of the boys, saw Ruddy and saw Russ, and told them. And but by that time, Alex Neil said to me, "I don't mind you going down to Derby and doing your medical, and then if we get the player in, because the deadline shut at 6 o'clock that day." So he said, "I don't mind you going there, but he said that and we'll let you know when we get the player in." So it was a whirlwind for me. It all happened within the space of hours, and getting a phone call the night before, going in, and the way it all happened with Alex Neil not really knowing, and then he spoke to the board and they agreed it was a good price and they couldn't turn it down. And then when I saw the reaction of the lads, Ruddy went crazy. Russ was going crazy.
I was going to ask you about this because John Ruddy came on TNC podcast as well, and
yeah.
It's not just, I can obviously, like, even just getting you to speak about it now, I can still see the pain on your face and the emotion, the way you're talking about this. But it's not just you. When John came on, he was most passionate on the podcast about you leaving and spoke about how mental he went at Colney that day. Yeah. Russ Martin was telling me how he tried to stop it from happening. Like, I mean,
yeah.
I just don't. And I know that I know wholeheartedly I'm speaking for literally every single Norwich City fan now, saying we were broken. And how did you then go from, I don't want to leave, I want to play in the Premier League, to I'm a Derby? Like, how did you make that transition so fast? Like, you must have found that so tough, emotionally, mentally.
Oh, yeah, I did, because going up there, going up to Derby and doing my medical and stuff, on their point of view, they wanted to get it done straight away. So they were rushing me. What's going on? And I was like, I'm not phoning up the club, because I thought, half of me in my head thinking, oh, it's not going to happen, and I'm going to go back. But then in the other half, my dad was as angry as I was, because he's a passionate fan about me, and he sort of said it from a dad's point of view. He was like, because he's been with me throughout my career, I've had rejections from a young age, and it really hurt me. And my dad was like, they don't want you, the board or whoever doesn't want you, so you've got to leave, because if you go back there, you're not going to play, you're not going to be happy, because he knows how much I love football and I love playing. And it was a hard decision for me. I spoke to my wife. As I said, we just bought our house in Norwich, put my first kid in school, and within 2 months we had to take him out of school and change. So it was a hard decision. And then Derby were rushing it because they wanted to get it done, and then Norwich were taking their time, and it was just a whirlwind of a day. I didn't know what to think of it. It was just, as I said, I didn't want to leave. But then on the other hand, the more it went on, the more I got my head round of, as I said to you before, football is like a business, and you know, things like that happen in football. So the longer it went on, the more I got my head around it. And with the deadline coming up, so it happened at 5 minutes to 6 that they sent all the papers through. And then my first 5 minutes to 6, it happened, and at 6 o'clock, I'm in the corridors with lights and cameras in my face like that. And they asked me about the club, and I'm thinking, oh, yeah, I'm delighted to sign. I can't wait to get started for Derby City. And I call them City because I'm used so used to calling Norwich City. I said, yeah, I can't wait to get started for Derby City. So I got off to a great start.
I'm going to be brave with you here. Do you feel wholeheartedly betrayed by Dave McNally?
Yeah. That year, they're going back to when we got relegated. I had teams come in for me in the Premier League who wanted to keep me and buy me in the Premier League.
Only,
yeah. So it wasn't a case of me going in to McNally or whoever the manager was at the time and saying I want to leave, because I felt at home at Norwich. I loved it there. I wanted to be there. I enjoyed the lads that we had there. Were great lads. Russ, Wes, Snoddy, everyone there. We all got on so well, and so it wasn't a case of, oh, we've been relegated now, I want to jump ship. I wanted to get relegated. I didn't want to get relegated, but we got relegated. I wanted to, that season, bounce back up and get out and get back into the Premier League. And I said that to the club. You know, I said, look, clubs are coming in for me. I don't want to leave. I want to help this club. And I was coming to, I think I only had a year left or something after that. So I said, yeah, we'll sort out contracts. And then nothing got happen. Then Alex Neil come in the January time. And then again, Burnley come back in for me in that January while we was in the Championship. And and then they come back in for me. And then I said to them, to Norwich, I said, look, I want to be here. Let's sort out a new contract. And to be fair to Alex Neil, then I went to see him. He'd only been in the building for a week. And to be fair to him, I went to see him and told him, and he said, leave it with me, I'll get it sorted out. And 3 days later, I signed that 4-year contract. So again, that's where I go back to Alex Neil, and everyone thinks I ain't got a bad word or anything to say about him. You know, he's a respectable man. He respects you if you work hard for him and play, and he's just a good guy.
This is what I wanted to get to, actually, Bradley, because in the first podcast, and people can go and listen to that now on SoundCloud, Spotify, and iTunes, if you search Bradley Johnson, Talk Norwich City, you spoke about this, but we didn't quite pin it down to who and why. And now we know it definitely wasn't Alex Neil. I'm sure he would have kept you here. And I know you're a Blackburn now, and Blackburn a quality club, mate. Hand on heart, would you have wanted to retire at Norwich?
That was my plan. That's what I thought I was going to do. before I go back to signing that contract with Alex Neil. So I signed that contract 4 years, and it took me till I was 31 or 32. So yeah, 31, I think. And that's what I had in my mind. You know, I bought my house in Norwich. I've still got it now. I put my kids in school, and we were settled. Me and my wife loved it there. We were close to our family who lived in London, and yeah, we were settled there. And going back when, I remember, like you said, there being betrayed. I remember winning the playoff final and going up the stairs and collecting the trophy, and McNally was up there, and he gave me a hug. I don't know if you can see it on the video, and he shook my hand but gave me a hug, and he was like, "Thank you so much for staying, thank you for doing this, thank you for getting us out of this league." And I was like, "I told you, that was my plan, and we've done it." So I was all happy. And then 2 months later, we have our summer holidays, come back in, start the season, and within 4 games, I'll get sold. So I did feel betrayed, yeah.
Snaky. Not good. And good to know who it was. Look, I know there'll be Norwich fans still here now listening, raging at this decision. It's a lot of people have likened it to when we had Malky McCarthy centre back and we sold him to West Ham. I think this was worse because, you know, we're not just talking about any player here. And I know I'm saying this in front of you, but I don't care. You know, when a player wins Player of the Season, when they stick by you and stay loyal, you fight and you score, and you the relationship you have with the fans. And then for McNally to kind of just and to be honest with you, Brad, it actually annoys me how comfortable you are by saying, "Oh, it's business." It's not business. It's business when it's you, when it's a player of that pedigree. And I see no difference to, you know, what you did in that season to what Grant Hull did. You know, I think that you were on that level in terms of what you gave to the club, the loyalty. Obviously, you've said you had options to go and sit on a big paycheck at Burnley, and you decided to stay at Norwich. And I know this is a bit ranty, but that's the truth, mate.
One thing that did upset me about that whole thing was when, I don't know how long ago it was after I left, and we were playing Norwich, and Alex Neil done a press conference or something, or spoke in front of the fans, and he said that he didn't believe I was good enough to play in the Premier League. I think he come out and said that, didn't he? And
yeah,
that upset me because I had a lot of respect for him. That upset me because I've been in the Premier League 3 years before that, played over 100 games for the club. So for him to come out and say he didn't think I was good enough to play in the Premier League, he thought it was a step up or something, he said. And then obviously to play against Norwich, I think that was a game that was scored against Norwich as well, and we won at Derby. So it was sort of like about upused to Alex Neil after that game.
You're literally making me angry on a Monday night.